Welcome back to the long exposure. Today we're going to be talking about RAW versus JPEG, okay? Now this is something, if you're serious about photography, you should pay attention to. Probably one of the most important things that we're going to talk about, okay? Please, before we begin, check out the description from my Amazon store where you're going to find many helpful books on photography, many which I've read myself, as well as subscribing. So you can get weekly notifications about my videos that come out weekly basis, sometimes bi-weekly, okay? It just depends. Anyways, RAW versus JPEG, okay? RAW is the most important decision you can make when shooting photography, okay? Doesn't matter if you're shooting portraits, landscapes, architecture, macro, it doesn't matter, okay? Now, this means you're going to need a program like Photoshop or Lightroom. I really prefer Lightroom over Photoshop. There's several different reasons why, and we'll follow that up in a separate video. But if you're serious about photography, you should have either Photoshop at least or Lightroom. Anyways, they're not too expensive. You can get Lightroom for I think like $75 to $100, which isn't a huge deal, right? It's much less than your camera. So get that so you can shoot RAW. Okay, what RAW does is, okay, first let's cover JPEG. What a JPEG is your camera has a bunch of preset settings, okay? And when your sensor is exposed, then it inputs it into your camera circuitry, into a little kind of like a computer. And that computer goes, okay, you want white balance auto or white balance daylight, okay, right? Puts that setting there. You want landscape mode or whatever one of those, those creative profiles that you can set in your camera. I use neutral, okay, or faithful or whatever. Okay, it's going to put, let's just say that you use landscape, okay? So it's going to select landscape. So the greens are going to be a little bit greener, the things are going to be a little bit crisper, whatever, okay? It's going to select that, okay? It's going to go ISO, well, ISO's relatively going to be stuck there anyways, okay? But the point is, it's going to select all these pre-existing settings that you've selected to input to your JPEGs, and it's going to go, okay, picture, boom, and it's going to put all those settings, apply those settings to your JPEG, and it's going to put your picture out into a JPEG onto your card. Okay. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So basically what a JPEG is it's a sensor interpreting all the things that you've told it to do to process your photo, and it's going to process it automatically and give you a JPEG with those pre-existing things, okay? Sharpness, colors, whatever, okay? What RAW does is it takes the data straight from the photograph that you capture, and it just inputs all of the data into a card, onto your card file, okay? It's not going to have any pre-existing sharpness. It's not going to have any pre-existing like conditions that you put, like landscape, faithful, all those things, okay? It's not going to have any of that stuff, okay? It's just going to be the exact data. That's what's called RAW. The raw data from your photograph into your card, okay? Why that's important is that JPEG, once that JPEG's been formulated, you can't go back in there and take off that landscape profile that you put on it, right? You can't. You can't take off the sharpness that's applied to it. You can go into Photoshop and unsharpen it a little bit artificially, or you can try to take away those colors or whatever on the landscape profile or the portrait profile, wherever you chose, but you're not going to be able to get it completely away. Now, RAW, on the other hand, is completely blank of any of those processing things, and you can apply whatever you want to it, take whatever you want away from it, because it's exactly the raw data from the camera. That's going to give you much more versatility when it comes to editing. You're going to be able to get much more crisper photos. You're going to be able to manipulate those colors a lot better because the camera, that file actually has all those colors intact. Okay, when you do a JPEG, a lot of those colors and a lot of those different things are taken out of the file or ignored. And so when you start editing it, that's why when you edit some poor quality photos, you start seeing a lot of pixelation, or you start seeing colors change badly and a bunch of other stuff like that. You can't get it as sharp as you want it to because the photograph is missing, that file is missing that data. Okay, it's just not there to edit. Whereas in a RAW, it's there to edit. You can change it. You can apply, let's just say you shoot this picture right here, okay? And I decide, okay, well, I should be shooting this in portrait maybe, which I don't really do anyways. I use faithful or neutral, right? So I can edit it better. But in the end, those edits don't even matter because I can apply neutral, faithful, landscape, portraiture, whatever I want to after, and it's the same as if I had taken it in the camera and applied it to a JPEG. Okay, but the difference is I have the ability to choose later what I should have done in this situation, which makes it I can put it on a big, huge computer screen and edit instead of having to choose what looks best through a small viewfinder or the screen. Okay, what I also like about RAW is I can, for example, I can select black and white, you know, in the profiles, and I can shoot using my camera in RAW, and when I shoot, it'll play back to me what it looks like in black and white when I look at the playbacks. Yet the actual colors, actual photograph is going to be in color when I get it. It's just really helpful that I can see what it would look like in black and white, even though my eye's pretty good for black and white. It's one of my favorite photography styles. But it is helpful to, when I look through there, I can select black and white, but it isn't black and white because it's going to take all the data, not just leaving the black and white. Whereas if you start a black and white JPEG mode, you're only going to get that black and white profile, all the color's been deleted, and it's gone. So anyways, guys, please shoot in RAW. If you're shooting in JPEG still, you're going to be missing out on all kinds of opportunities. And even though the file size is quite a bit bigger, go get yourself an external hard drive, or hopefully your computer has a hard drive that's big enough. But you're going to be glad that you did, and you're going to get a lot more out of your photography. Anyway, guys, until next time, check out the books in the description. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later.